Hello and welcome to the Gay and Straight Talk podcast. I'm Jonathan,
I'm Paul.
and today we are dissecting the delicious and very emotive topic has come through under the title of work, ambition, and success. That sounds like really loaded, that doesn't it? Sounds
Mm.
like a motivational speech. Is your job who you are? And that following up, do you chase passion or stability?
No, my job is not who I am. I'm just very good at it, even if I say so myself.
But what else are you
And
good at?
uh, drinking beer, eating takeaways, watching football, being a
Marvelous.
bloke. Yeah.
Bit of bloke.
Yeah.
A bloke.
And stability, if I didn't have it, I'd have nothing.
Yeah.
I can't deal without stability. That is more important than anything. I've got to have everything accurate to predict it well
Yeah.
to encourage my stability.
Mm.
So by doing the job that I know how to do, which isn't who I am, helps me formulate the rest of my stability.
Mm. I mean, I have been ruled by my job title.
You've been what? Sorry.
Ruled by my job
Right.
title. I'm an estate agent. I'm a banker. I'm a columnist. Um, and by it's having a. I think it's just given a purpose. And I know it's a bit wrong, but then again, that to say that being the job title created my own stability. And
Hmm.
I've worked very hard. I know other people have worked equally hard. I've been fortunate. I've made decisions which have made me sort of financially okay. Um, but I've also craved stability all my life because I had a bit of a hectic childhood, a bit of a sort of it was a period of flux and chaos for a period of time with sort of my mother's making decisions with who she married, etc. Um, so I've always craved that stability, and now I've created that stability for myself with my partner Rob. Um, but I did have a loss of my identity in what I was doing, and it was either I say I've been an estate agent, a columnist, and most recently been a pub landlord. And I've actually despised the whole pub landlord
Hmm.
thing because you're on show and then you become public property. So everyone's got an opinion on what you are doing, what you have seen, and what have you said, or what have you. I'm quite guarded with regards to information I give. I only give the information I want people to have, and you don't discuss troubles or in fairness, I don't really have that many troubles, but I've made my life that easy. I've glided.
Mm.
Um, but my identity has always been wrapped up in the job I've been doing, and that's why I'm trying to disassociate from that. I mean, I've got my
Right.
writing projects to do. I've got another little side hustle project I'm doing. So we've got a little wine business, and we've got lots of little portfolio bits and pieces which are fun and enjoyable, but don't necessarily make who I am.
Yeah.
I think I'm now trying to create an identity because I'm emerging into retirement, semi-retirement, early retirement, and it's finding that label. But I think we're always very good at labeling ourselves. I am
See,
this. I
for
think
me,
you're a bit different to that.
very, because like even in work, I even say it to people. When people are having a moan about work or whatever, like if I'm on site and I'm doing some work, people will have a moan and I say, look, all I care about is going home, getting in my pajamas and playing with my dog.
Mm,
Because, the type of work I do, people get scared of you coming. And the last thing I want is anyone to be bothered that I'm even there. It's like, look, the point of me when I leave that building when I'm in work is they have to be able to reach out to me, sort of off the record,
mm,
because that's the relationship I want to build with them.
mm,
And when people ask me what I do, I don't give them a title. I just say, I work in safety because I'm not bothered. I know I can do it. I know I do it well. I know that the region that I've got is twice the size of anybody else's in the volume of
Mm.
properties. I know that there is no one doing my job in this company who's doing as much as I'm doing because we're the biggest company and I've got the biggest region.
Mm.
I know that I can manage it. I know that I do it. I know I've built those good relations. Okay, it's because I can do it, but it's not. I don't think about it. It doesn't excite me. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't get me out of bed in the morning. I just
I
do
think,
it.
in fairness, I admire that in you because you don't put the value in to certain
No,
things. Where I think I've always had that value system. I sort of like,
but don't get me wrong. I do the best I can.
yeah,
Because like obviously I've got a very strong history in fire as well, and I don't work in fire anymore, and I am constantly coming up against fire issues.
mm,
And the company I work for has two separate fire teams, and I get really agitated that neither of them pick up what I pick up. But then that's when it starts getting political. So what I've had to do now is just go, no, here you go, boss. I found that.
mm,
Not getting involved in the conversations with the people anymore because it's not my role.
mm,
So I always try and find the way now because I can get too wrapped up in work and I can really make it
yeah,
personal because of that. I've got to do it. So I'm going to apply what I will do, my standard.
mm,
But it's because that's how I've got to get the enjoyment out of work. Doesn't mean I then become my job. I still bang on that
yeah,
time, go, right, I really can't wait to
yeah.
watch the football later. And, I just not interested in even talking about the thing.
Yeah, I mean, with work, I always like the interaction with people. I am fascinated by them.
Mm.
I dipped into the idea of being a counselor or life coach, that sort of thing, and sort of got the qualification, but I never really took it anywhere. But I'm really fascinated with how people live and how people operate. That's why I felt that working as an estate agent, I was fascinated because the property holds someone else's life and you see a snapshot of their lives. And the people that are moving are in a period of flux. And I always find that fascinating as well. You've either got relationships starting, ending, someone's died, someone's moving on.
Mm.
There's that period of complete flux, and it's quite interesting seeing the extremes in personalities, how people work, and it's interesting being on the aspect of helping those people
Mm.
make things simple and easy. And so I was a good estate agent, and I was also I ended up working it as a columnist because the observations in what I was writing sort of related to people because I love the human interest. And I write so sort of fiction and non-fiction, but it's always fascinating the snapshots of people's lives, how you can summarize someone in like a couple of sentences, but you can create drama in those couple of sentences. I mean, you could say, let's say, safety experts with a fire background discovers sort of a breach, and that's the story in its own right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's that that
People have
that.
been covering it up,
But
and now I've exposed a secret.
that is basically the entire plot for Tower and Inferno,
Yeah.
the 1970s
Obviously, can't
disaster
watch it
picture.
because that's not how fire moves. But you
Yeah,
know,
but yeah.
nobody with fire backgrounds can watch anything to do with fire on TV.
So, but it's so I think you put a lot of store by your work, but then again, your work can also be just cut off immediately, and then that's your whole life
Yeah.
gone.
Well, the thing is, I used to be very, very connected with it, but the problem is, I found I was breaking my back for people who didn't care. They ended up starting to just accept what you did as the extra mile rather
Mm,
than, still going, oh, I really appreciate that. Like, the place I work, I built a software for a certain section of the business, which isn't my job, but it's in full effect.
mhm,
That was a massive introduction for something. I built this bank of something else, which isn't, again, my job, but I did it in 2 weeks, whereas 2 people were assigned 3 months for it.
Right.
And it looks exactly like what I made. So I'm like, well, what did they do for 3 months? And that's not a stab at them. I'm just curious. Like, I thought I was building a foundation. It wasn't to go live.
So
So
your went live.
yeah, mine went live, and it's like, well, it wasn't finished. It was a foundation that didn't exist. That's all I was doing, is to help the
Mm.
person who owns it. But it looks like because it's, in my opinion, it still needs a lot of work because it was the foundation.
Mm.
I've built, PowerPoints to train in the space of a few days, and I was meant to be running away with this unauthorized course basically in work because there's a training gap. Because I'm all about finding the weakness, the flaw,
Mm.
the chink in the armor, the weak link. And the second I find it, it's not to go wrong. I go, right, I want to fix it.
There's a solution.
Always a solution. So it's a case of, right, well, I will, and I put together this training package, and then I got in touch with the area manager, again, good relations, and I said, how about we keep it low key? You send your managers to this building in that room, and for the day, I'll just train them. I'll go through their buildings, I'll explain what they need to know, and then what I'll do in a few more months is I'll come back and I will re-audit your buildings because this section that fails will now pass.
Mm.
And she was well up for it. This was November last year. We're talking now in August. And I gave it to a training manager and a boss and said, this is what I made, if in case you want to use it. Yes, we will. We'll make a course off the back of it, and then we'll have all of the team go out across all of the areas and do the training.
Mhm.
Still hasn't happened. But I built that training in 3 days, and I'm still waiting for it now. So everything I do is quick, but it's right, and it's done. I can't deal with the waiting. But because I do all of these things and nobody else does, not a slight on them, it's just not their job. But I can't just do my day job because it's easy and boring, and it's not using my mental strength. So I do everything I possibly can along the way.
Maybe you need a hobby. Maybe
I've got one.
look.
I've got several, Yeah, so the thing is, while I'm in work, I do that. I don't do it in my free time.
So would you say you're...
But it became expected of me, and then when I wanted to just fall back into the role, people fell out with me over it.
What would you say your identity is now, though? Because this is the thing. So the question is to say, is your job who you are?
No, my job is just something I'm good at.
What is your identity? What is your touchstone?
My identity is just what I do, as in not work, but it's what I do, as in like my routine that I've got. The routine that I've got when the alarm will go off at 7:30. I come downstairs, I medicate the cat, I take the dog on the rough, I come back, I feed the dog, I make me coffee, and that'll be the foundation of every single day. And then, depending on how I've looked after myself through the week, as in washing and ironing and things like that, I can go into Saturday from 9 a.m. and have nothing at all to do. That's my identity, is the fact that I've done everything because I'm efficient. I am logical. I get everything done. I have no drama.
But if you were to meet someone new, say like you're out and you're sort of stuck in a conversation with someone in a queue, for example, if that happens.
So tell me about yourself.
Yeah, and just say, oh, right, yeah. And so like, oh, it's nice weather. And like, oh, and say, and what is it you do?
So I don't talk to strangers in queues. I just say, oh, work in safety, and
so you identify
animals.
yourself as like, oh, that's my job.
That's my job, yeah.
So,
I have an official job title. I work for like say the biggest company of its kind, but I just work in safety, and that means I could work.
I think, but maybe that's the social construct, because the question is when you introduce that, hi, my name is Jonathan. Oh, hi, Jonathan. What is it you do?
A lot of people tell you exactly what they do, and they'll even mention the company.
I think it's just like we are socially engineered to be our jobs, because it's like, hi, I'm Jonathan. What is it you do? What's your name and what do you do? And it's like, then you're also like, my name is this. I am an estate agent.
Yeah.
I am a.
But it'd be
landlord.
a weird way to answer that question any other way, wouldn't it? It's like, so what do you do? It's like, I wait for Saturday for the football to come on and then I scratch my bum and eat crisps.
Well, I think it seems like we are socially engineered to say that.
Yeah, but do you know why I play the lottery? Genuine question.
Why do you do the lottery?
So I can stop working.
Right.
I don't have dreams of mansions. I don't have dreams of jet skis and big parties or driving a Bugatti Veyron or getting tailor-made suits. Just want to stop work. And then I'll figure it out from there.
Yeah.
So whether I won 2 million or 200 million, it's the same answer. It's just to stop work.
Well, yeah. Well, and good job is that I say I'm doing that in about 29
29
days and counting.
Yep. So you can just give it up.
So I yeah, and I think that's going to be interesting, because then if someone says to me in September, "What is it you do?" Oh,
I'm retired.
well, that's been the easy one. So, what do you mean you retired? I said, well, to go to retirement. But I say, I mean, we've got a little wine business, which we do wine tastings. I'm setting up a gallery, and I do a podcast, and I'm writing.
Mm.
But none of them take priority.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those. It's like,
Well, that's the point, isn't it? Then it's
So,
the priority of it. Like
it's
you're
just like,
forced to.
yeah.
Well, I'll be
you're
forced
forced
to work.
to identify it, because I suppose you spend a lot of time at work, which is quite a fascinating thing.
Well, that's why I've gone to I've requested to go to a 9-day fortnight, because I can stop having an hour for lunch and have half an hour, because an hour is just a waste of time, and add 15 minutes to the end of 8 days and then half an hour to the end of the 9th day.
Right.
And that way I can have 26 extra days off a year, because I don't want to work. I can do it, and I do it, and I try and, I went from customer service jobs and then realized that was a finite period of time that I could deal with customers. And then I started retaliating, because who are you talking to like an idiot? I'm not a job role. I'm a person. You speak to me. You want to speak bad to me, then expect, the commensurate response. That was how it became. So I was like, don't think I can do this anymore. And then started following paths where I am more of a business advisor rather than a customer advisor. So I will deal with the people who deal with the people. And it's like, all right, well, that's tolerable, because they are forced to not be nasty to me, because we work for the same place. So we have to be amicable with each other consistently. So I've always tried to move the blocks and move the pieces to make sure that it doesn't clash with me, because I've got to do it forever. I'm not lucky. I didn't, I wasn't rich. I've never been able to be on a housing ladder until I've gotten one in my God knows when 30s. I'm just going to have to work forever. All right. So if I've got to work forever, where am I doing that and how am I doing it? When we're talking before we put these on.
So do you identify that your job?
No.
So if someone said, mate, you in Costa Coffee, and you did have that conversation with, I know it's stranger danger.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Jonathan. What's your name? What do you do? I say, hi, my name is is Paul. I am a podcaster.
Yeah, I could do that. I think, that is the thing. It's the priority of what you do.
It's just like what takes priority.
It is interesting because it's the priority of what you do. You're forced to. It's mandatory.
Because then it doesn't really matter, does it? So
because podcasting isn't what I make a living off. It doesn't pay for my house. It doesn't. But it doesn't.
I'm a podcaster.
Biscuits.
I'm a podcaster. I talk. I discuss.
I write music. I do podcasts. Yeah. I like to waffle nonsense.
Yes. So, but I think that's probably like a social construct.
Yeah, definitely. It's more of an accurate answer if you were to say a podcast, because it reflects more of your personal
then that's it. And it's like, oh, right, and then you end up talking about work. And the last thing you want to do is like when you're doing. I mean, I loved my estate agency because it was always a snapshot, and I adore property, and I like interiors and all that sort of thing, because it is a passion. But I can bore someone rigid. But then when
try working in safety.
a lot of people love talking about property. They like talking about the value of property and what's going to make the property look better and what will make the value go up.
Yeah.
And that was what was really fascinating. And it's been really interesting for the last year while we've had this pub. And I say, well, people have been talking about pubs, and it's just like, oh God, it's so boring. And then you just talk about clearing pub lines and oh God, yeah. And it's just like boring and tedious, and you just think, well, feel sorry for the people that are in a boring and tedious job, and then they have to talk about it, and they're automatically dragged back into it. So maybe it should be a new thing where, rather than saying, "Oh, what do you do?" "Oh, well, I enjoy reading books and long walks in the country,"
Yeah, it's just that
rather
little bit
than
of reprogramming. I totally agree with that.
because otherwise you're brought back, because doing the job, people are doing jobs that they don't particularly like, not being paid enough, and it creates a lot of life anxiety.
Yeah.
Um,
Like you say, then what do you do? It's like, oh, I'm just going to talk about that thing that's
yeah,
causing me the
yeah, it was
problems.
just like, I was like, I'm a podcaster.
Yeah.
I so, well, yeah. So
I'm just a guy who records my
and
waffles.
it's just really, really interesting. I mean, it was quite interesting the other day because I was behind the bar at the pub, and someone knew I worked in property, and we got into the conversation of property, and uh, and I did my masters at my in sort of I did my MBA, and my thesis was on urban regeneration from both a social housing side and the luxury side, as like the commercial side for domestic properties. And he was there trying to tell me how property works and how all that works. And he was like, he's one of these people that listens to these Russian chat box created by AI,
Mm.
which are just created to create like a massive
Finance bros and all that.
not finance bros. It's just like political things and political parties and political things. It's just like they're just done as a disruptor, and he's like takes that as fact. And he was about to go and do fact check, and I said, I did my masters at Cambridge, and
On just what you're talking
on
about.
this subject. So if you want me to list down the fact check, I can wipe the floor with you. And it's the first time I've actually, because he's one of these like, oh, fact check, he's like very dogmatic, and it's the first time he actually, because what the person who sits next to him said, I think you should drop this now, because he wasn't going to win. Because normally you have to, like, the customer's always right and everything like that.
No, them
So,
days
and
are
I was
gone.
about it because he does spout out some absolute frigging nonsense. And at that time, I was just like, well, no. And he's a nice guy. His heart's in the right place, but it's a bit thick.
Sim nice, but dim.
So, but I was just like I sort of my patience had elapsed, and I just mm, I like within two sentences, and then this person sat next to him and said, "I think you should drop it now,"
Mm.
and because it's just
No,
because it
it's
was like
interesting though. Like I say, you've taught me something there. You know, if I'm, I'm sort of engineered to, if some, and what do you do? You know,
mm,
like you could easily in retirement go whatever I want.
yeah.
You know, instead of saying, oh well, I do this and I do that.
But I think with retirement, there's quite an interesting thing on Facebook. It's a group. It's called the Epic Retirement. And there's a lot of smug people like, oh gosh, yeah, well, I work really hard, and I've got the house here and a house here, the yacht's there, and I've got the flat in the city. It's just like lovely. There's
Never impresses me. I
people,
like to hear how people relax. That impresses me.
people all around the world, and there's other people that say, well, I enjoy I craft, I do a bit of art, and I have coffee with friends,
See, that's the person
and
I'd be willing to listen to. I can't
that's the
stand
thing.
showing off. It doesn't impress me. It never has.
Uh,
I like to hear what people do in a leisurely way. You know, like what's your heart connected
Yeah,
to? Like,
there's some people that actually stumble into the retirement group and said, I've just taken early retirement. I'm just working out the bills, and I don't know how I'm going to make the bills."
eh?
And then so like,
Then how did you
so
get into
did you?
retirement?
Yeah, and just because, and then it became apparent that some people just haven't planned. So
Well,
they,
that's why I know I've got to work forever because
no,
I've planned and
yeah,
gone.
because
Oh,
some people just haven't planned that. They just think, I've reached a certain age, I'm retiring, and then suddenly there's a sudden jolt where, oh, how are the bills going to get paid? My income's dropped,
mm.
and I think that's going to be a big thing, because lots of people,
Honestly, I've like you talk about income, like
but your
you know,
mortgage will be paid off by the time you're retired.
yeah, but I'm gonna have to be old.
But you're only like, what? How old are you now? 42.
In my 40s, yeah.
43 then.
And but I've got it I don't know, another 19 years or something crazy, and it's already so expensive.
But you're gonna be 60 then, so it'll be paid off. But you've
60.
got these
You
people.
fall into bits.
But I'm 52, love. My
I've got
husband's
no
56.
meniscus in this knee. I've had a stupid operation in my mouth to get a stone out. I've got gastroesophageal reflux disease. I've got issues with me, it's the lymph system because of it.
And a massive knob.
Got to have something.
It's so hard.
Got to have something, dude.
Only once or twice a week because the blood
yeah.
can't get to it.
That's it. No, the problem is I wish I did to make up for everything.
But some people are stuffed. They put a lot of store by the jobs, but they say, is that job actually paying their way?
Well, this is it. I've had a good rethink,
Yeah.
especially this year, because I'm always trying to teach myself to disassociate from work, but stay good at it. Don't lose your personal passion that you can
next time someone you meet, not in a work situation, what is it you do? I'm a podcaster. I'm just come to check your safety.
But it's the reason why I like podcasting.
Yeah.
And it's because I just like having a chat.
Yeah.
And it might sound narcissistic, I get it, but there's something so interesting months down the line when you watch it back.
Yeah.
Or you listen to it back, you go, oh, I said that. Or, oh, I listened,
Yeah. Oh, that was quite insightful. Wow.
And you can sort of see how your mind changes as you go through time as well. And that's what I like about it. It's not to become, a world famous whatever, because I'd make a good setup and we'd have scripts and all that nonsense. It's just nice to chew the fat.
Yeah.
And record it and just
that's
always there then, isn't it?
It's, what I love about these type of podcasts is when you listen to other people's ones, it's like you sit in a coffee shop and you're listening to two people at the next table having a conversation. I always remember when years ago I was an estate agent, a young estate agent, and I was mincing through Sainsbury's and I was talking to my friend on the phone, and the manager, she was having an affair with this married estate agent. And we were talking about all this and all that because she kept coming in with all the drama about what was happening when they're meeting up and he was going to leave the husband wife. And I was having this conversation and I was just like going up and down the aisles, just filling my trolley with everything. And I said, I better get going. I'm coming up to the cash register. And I put the phone away. There was a lady behind me that had been following round. I said, God, your people you work with sound so interesting. She followed me round listening to the conversation.
Wow.
And I was just like, wow. Yeah, and I think fair enough, because we literally were having that conversation. It was just like, she was only hearing my side of things. It wasn't on speakerphone.
God,
these annoying arseholes nowadays that go on video. And
do not start.
Yeah, no, okay.
Do not.
We're on 28 minutes now, so people must be bored or they've tuned out anyway. So when someone asks you what say,
I'm going to change it now.
Hi, my name's Jonathan. What's your name and what do you do?
Paul, and I podcast.
Oh, that sounds interesting. What do you podcast about? There we go.
Yeah, saves talking about work, feeling it, love it. I will change my ways.
So, dear listeners, if I came up to you and said, hi, I'm Jonathan, what's your name and what do you do? Please just list that down in the comments. Maybe make it up if you're doing something really dull, and then next podcast we can read out the comments. So where are you from? What's your name and what do you do? So anyway, dear listeners, this is Jonathan signing off.
And Paul signing off.
Bye bye.